Mr. Chancellor, it is my honor to present to you Deepa Mehta, screenwriter, director, transnational storyteller. An Oscar-nominated filmmaker, Deepa Mehta's work both honors and challenges traditions with beauty and universality. Her work crosses cultures, countries, and class. It is intergenerational, inspiring, provocative, and deeply humanist to the core. Among her best-known and loved work is her famous film trilogy, Fire, Earth, and Water, each film telling a different story about life in India, about traditions valued and challenged, and about change. Despite opposition and controversy, Mehta has allowed films that tell tough stories reflecting the harsh realities in Canadian and South Asian cultures. In each one, she finds not so much a silver lining, but offers us a lesson about hope and love and the power and poetry of human experience. The mix of cultures and generational tension, whether told amid the anguish of the Indian partition or amid the flirtatious joy of a Bollywood dance number, are at the heart of Deepa Mehta's work, and she is a masterful visual storyteller. Her latest film is an adaptation of Salman Rushdie's Midnight's Children, about the history of 20th century India. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Senate and the Board of Governors, it is my privilege and honor to present to you Deepa Mehta so that you may confer upon her the degrees of Doctors of Letters honoris causa.
Thank you very much. Hi, everybody. It's a real pleasure to be here. And I look around and I say, oh my God, this is a filmmaker's dream come true, a captive audience. No, seriously, it's a pleasure to be here, and many congratulations, the Chancellor, the President, President Shepherd. I was in Toronto last night, and they said you were a really good guy. So this is cool. And the faculty and proud parents, family, and most of all, you, the graduating class of 2013. It must feel great. I mean, I feel great getting my degree, and I didn't even have to work for it. No, it's an honor because to get this degree from this particular university, because I've heard great things about it, and I also love the fact that it's giving McGill a run for its money. So congratulations. Giving convocation speeches is tough, and writing them is even tougher, because I think that I'm supposed to impart some words of wisdom to a bunch of super bright kids who are getting their degrees and probably know more about Apple apps and Word documents than I would ever in a lifetime. But so I was sort of pulling my hair out and thinking, what do I really want to share with you? Because that's really what I have, is my experiences, and they aren't, I'm not speaking from the vantage point of the wise woman with roots in the East kind of a thing, but more as a filmmaker, a woman filmmaker of color, which was perceived when I first came to this country as a double negative. What do you mean you want to be a filmmaker? But then, it 70s was a difficult place in Canada because when I first got here, and I have to share this story with you because it was fascinating. I'd finished Delhi University and I'd done a couple of films in India, and I got married to a Canadian and I landed in Toronto. And one of the first things that we were invited to was a ball game. I'd never been to a ball game. I didn't even know what a ball game was. It just sounded very juvenile. But I said, let's go along. And I wore my sari and I went for a ball game. I didn't know you wore jeans and went to a ball game. But and I was talking to my host, a very sort of established man from the Toronto community, and his name was John Bassett Sr., and he'd sort of started CTV, and he's a lovely guy. And we started talking, and at the end of my sort of particularly vocal thing about feminism or something like that, he said, "My God, you speak really good English. Where did you learn it?" And I thought for a second, and I immediately replied, "I learned it on the plane coming over." So, and his reaction was, "Oh, okay, you're a fast learner." So and it taught me a lot about preconceptions that come with the color of your skin, where you come from, and how they limit one's growth and learning experience. Yes, you have your degrees. Yes, I finished making a film. What next? It's a moment of elation. It's a moment of uncertainty. It's, if you're like me, I'm probably, when we finish a film, I'm always sort of, biting my nails and saying, what next? I don't know what it's like for you. I'm sure for some of you, you know with certainty what you're about to do next. And some of you feel you might be doing something that's expected of you. And others like me perhaps are clueless. But it takes all kinds. And I think that what's really important is to realize what your personal need is. My need when I finish a film is actually not to commit myself to anything for some time. I think to take a sabbatical, for me, please parents don't get worried, I'm not suggesting this for your children, but it's not a bad idea. Take time off to know what you really need and what you really want. I don't know how many of you are familiar with David Foster Wallace, an eminent writer, American writer. And in one of his most famous convocation addresses, and he gave many of them, he said that not one convocation address is complete unless it has a parable in it. So I thought I'd give you the one that I like the best, which is about two monks who graduated from a monastery. And they arrive at a riverbank. And monk number one says to monk number two, "What did you learn? You were in the monastery for 10 years, the rigorous discipline, or spiritual discipline, physical discipline. What did you learn?" And the monk doesn't reply, but without a beat, walks onto the water, walks on the water, goes to the other side of the river, and comes back. And, he's sort of waiting for the other monk to applaud and say, "Wow, you're really cool." But the other monk says, is laughing his head off. And he says, "Why are you laughing?" He says, "You spent 10 years learning to walk on water, which I can pay 10 cents to a boatman and do." So the common sense, was prevailed for him. I mean, why spend 10 years learning how to walk on water when you can actually pay somebody else to do exactly, to take you across on the other side? So the other monk is sort of not very happy and slightly pissed off and says, "What did you learn?" And he said, "I learned to eat when I was hungry and sleep when I was tired." So there's no sort of big moral lesson in this, but it does talk about what the point I was touching earlier, the need to recognize what one needs in one's life as you go on to your next step. I mean, my big epiphany about what I needed came in the 1990s with the first film I did. It was a film called Sam and Me. And, we'd applied for funding, and I'd applied to Telefilm Canada, which is a very good funding body, and I came to Montreal, in fact, to meet the head honcho of Telefilm, who said, you know, Deepa, you've got everything going for you. You're a woman, you're colored, therefore you're eligible for all the grants, but it's too bad because your script stinks. So I said, oh, okay, thanks a lot. And I was really offended. But that moment and that brutal statement actually liberated me forever and defined what it means to me to be Canadian. Because I was taught, I was so appalled by what he'd said, but there was such truth in what he had said that it stayed with me forever. I stopped being a victim. I stopped moaning and groaning about being a woman or being colored, or feeling that because I was that, society or the government of Canada actually owed me something. I became equal. And that equality actually has defined what I have done throughout my life in Canada. I have often said that if my stories are inspired by the country of my birth, India, then Canada, the country I choose to live in, the country I call home, has given me the freedom to express them. I love my two worlds. I love the fact that I can use one and the other. And so why should I feel that I'm at a disadvantage because I'm colored or I'm a woman? Never, ever let anybody ghettoize you. And always be aware, again, I sound like a broken record about your needs. When I graduated from university, it was a degree in philosophy, and my father was a film distributor in India, and I'd grown up with movies, and I thought I was going to go and do my master's and my PhD in Hindu philosophy. And I met a friend of mine, and we talked for about like a couple of hours, and it was a very intense conversation about film and the nature of films and what films can achieve and how can it make you feel. And I sort of got really I was quite young, and I got really inspired. So I went and told my father that I've decided I don't want to become an academic, and I don't want to pursue my studies anymore, and I want to be a filmmaker. There was dead silence. There was nothing. And he said, okay, if that's what you want to do it. But remember, there are two things in life you never know about. One is when you're going to die, and the other is how a film is going to do. So I said, basically, really wise words, because basically what he was doing was saying, don't have too many expectations. Enjoy the action while you're doing it. So wherever you're going next, enjoy the process of doing what you're going to do. Try not to keep your eyes on the prize, because sometimes you might get it, but sometimes you might be disappointed. And it actually takes away from the joy of performing the task at hand. So I hope you are like the wise monk, and you eat, when you're hungry, you sleep when you're tired, and when you can take a boat, don't try and walk on water. Best of luck, and bon chance, and like my favorite Vulcan said, Spock, he said, live long and prosper. Thank you. Thank you.
I think Dr. Mehta said it well. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Thank you for your very inspirational talk. We very much appreciate it, and I think that it's given us all of us a boost this morning. Thank you very much.